Hey guys, I'm Alexander Williamson and welcome to FISHTORY. Today we're going to be reviewing a product that I have been waiting for a long time, and that is this new mix by Aquarium Co-op. Now this is called Magic Nano Feed, and it is a new kind of fish food. I got to see them using this at the flagship store all summer, and I was watching so jealously. We are demoing the brand new Aquarium Co-op
Magic small fish feed.
Magic Small Fish Feed. And so it kind of just hangs there in the water and at the top, and everybody gets a chance. That is cool. So, I know it's a great food. I know lots of fish love it. It must taste amazing, and the fish just swarm around and eat it, and it has some properties like floating at the top and mid-water for a really long period of time that other foods just don't simply have. So in this video, we're going to compare everything from price, properties of the food, and ways the food interacts with our aquarium with this new product. Now, I must say, as much as I have enjoyed this new product, there are some serious issues with this new product. And one of them is if you have a nature aquarium or an aquarium set up as an ecosystem, truly from the microscopic up through shrimp, cleanup crew, small, crustaceans, things like that, all the way up through small fish, then there are some issues with this product. However, I think that if you know how to work with it, that they can be overcome, and this is still a pretty awesome new addition to the hobby. So let's talk about all of this, and let's talk about the Corey McElroy guarantee of approval. I would hope he approves of it. It's his product, right? All right, my friends, one of the most helpful things I hope I can do for you in this video is to kind of lay out the pro and the con list for this product. There are a lot of good things about this product. I'm really excited about some aspects of it, but there are definitely some cons as well. And I think you should be aware of them, especially if you're doing a nature tank or a filterless tank. It's something you really need to be aware of in products like this in particular. So let's go on through the list, and I want to start on an optimistic note. So let's kind of hit the pros, or what I really like about this, and some of them might be ambiguous. So if I say, it's a pro because it feeds nano fish, well, it might be a con because it doesn't feed monster fish, right? So I think you'll get the hang of it, but let's get on through this, and hopefully you'll understand where your needs with this product may fall into line. All right, so first of all, I love that it has relatively high protein for anything in this sector. It really is kind of top of the line protein-wise. You can get a little higher, but not a whole lot more, and that's great. Now, on the downside, or the con side, is that it doesn't have all the omega-3s, omega-6s, color-enhancing additives and things like that. And there may be reasons for that are in the research development side of things, or perhaps it makes the food more oily and more fluffy, more buoyant, and that becomes a problem, like it doesn't sink ever, or maybe it makes the food unpalatable for one reason or another. Regardless, it's something that I've seen in other fry foods, I've seen in other pellets or flakes that I like to see, and if I'm going to feed that rather than live food or frozen food, it's something that, I'm a little bit bummed. I would have liked to see it, and I'm going to supplement with the Aquarium Co-op fry food and or maybe some bug bite color enhancing formula or something along those lines. Now, as for pricing, I think it's a really fair price. I think most of these things on the market are priced kind of similarly. And is it a fair price in the sense of the world? No. You can get a ton of this stuff literally for $700. You can get a ton of... I searched the ingredient list here. I'll take a look. I searched the ingredient list, and I found a company in India making literally the same ingredient list as a food, and it was down to, if you do the conversion from rupees and so forth, it's down to $700 for 2,000 plus pounds of the stuff. And, we're buying 4 ounces for $10, give or take. So is that a good price? Not in a global sense, but again, we're in a market that is kind of like that. And to be very fair and transparent about it, I can complain about that, but somebody has to take the lead, go over to China or India or wherever and have them make the formula or use a formula that exists in another fish food factory and whatnot, put those products together and then get it here, market it, label it, store it, package it. All those things cost money, time, resources, and skill. And so in another way, I think it's all just, part of the territory. So I do think it is actually a fair price. And I think if you buy it in bulk, they'll probably have some price discounts at a certain point, even though it's a brand new product and we haven't really seen that yet. So another thing I notice about this is that the float time is incredible, which is great if you have fish that are like pseudomagills or pencilfish or, really small killifish that are shy. It is absolutely wonderful because a lot of times other foods out on the market, this was a niche that needed to be filled. But, it kind of spreads out pretty evenly and it hangs out floating for a good 20 minutes if it's still water, if you had a filterless tank or a fry tank or something like that, which is maybe too long, I don't know, but it spreads out evenly and then it drops, which is going to lead to one of my biggest cons, which is that it is a messy food. It's dusty and it's going to fall all over the place unless you have a ton of flow and mechanical filtration in your tank, or you've got plenty of snails, plenty of shrimp, plenty of, catfish and or sifting kind of bottom feeder fish that can handle it. So if you know what you're doing and you've set your tank up those ways, it's great. But for your average person who has a community tank, it may be kind of a messy thing, and I would feed it very, very sparingly. And if you weigh out, say, a tenth of a gram of it, that is enough to kind of blanket the entire tank. And you guys will see that, whereas a tenth of a gram of other foods may make it into 2 or 3 main fish. And that's not the case here. So I think it's something important to point out. And if you have a nature tank or a biotope style tank, you're going to be building up a lot of organic waste that will turn into ammonia, nitrites, nitrates, and or could start molding and going kind of rancid on you if you didn't have a way to clean it or spot vac it or some sort of cleanup crew and plan in place. Now, that being said, that's going to be true with anything that serves this purpose. So my one suggestion would be to feed it through one of those feeding rings that you can get, or one of those rings for keeping duckweed away from a certain area for feeding bettas and things. You could use that, or some airline tubing you could float, put the food in there and let them eat there, and then it would only fall in one specific corner, for instance, and you could reliably feed in that same spot, and it wouldn't float literally everywhere then. It would just contain it a little more, which would probably be good. Now, the float time mid-water is great and all that, and I think that there isn't really a product that hangs out in the water mid-water quite so long, so I think that's incredible. I love that. Also, I think the fact that if it does fall down and blanket the bottom of your tank, it's not a huge chunk of anything, so it's not going to rot quickly or massively. It's not going to be some like major stinky problem right away, but in that same idea, it could insidiously over time build up and actually put a lot of oils and a lot of different proteins into the water and cause a lot of protein films and or algae and things like that. So something to be aware of, but it's all about just knowing the role of what you're feeding and the other foods you're using in combination, because I wouldn't just use this one food. I would use other foods as well for most situations in most tanks. It's very, very simple, and that's another major pro. And lastly, I would say the brand support. So behind it, I was joking, the Corey's little picture on the can, that's kind of cracks me up that like Corey says it's good. I would hope so. It's his product, right? But no, it actually does mean something, because they have great customer service and they've got the forum online with lots of people engaged in doing things. But basically, they will treat you right every time I've dealt with them, if there's any issues with products or, how something arrived, lost shipments, anything like that. So that is something, the name Aquarium Co-op has stood for something in that regard. And that is worth something more than just the product itself, in my mind. And I think we should reward independent or, US-based businesses and things like that, even if there is the con that this is probably made overseas in some massive factory that, they basically picked out from a menu of items and ways to combine it, and then they made containers from a container factory. But that's the way of the world these days. It would be very hard to open up your own fish food factory and get what you want out of it and source all the things you need without it being literally 5 times more. So do you want to pay 5 times more? I don't think the average person would or will. And that may be unfortunate in a perfect world to a lot of us, but, that's just the way things are these days. And, grow your own live food and use frozen food as well for most situations if you feel that that is something that should change, and then support those who do make their food in the US, because there are some, but it is a little more pricey. All right, so, the last thing I'm going to say about this as a con is that, it doesn't move like a living thing because it's not a living thing. So it doesn't have that movement, nor does it have a second use. So unlike microfauna that's living or live food you're feeding to your fish, a lot is going to get missed, and I already mentioned that in depth just now, but also it doesn't do anything. So if you have worms you're feeding your fish and some escape, they're going to eat other waste. If you have a dry flake or a pellet you feed your fish and it escapes being eaten, it becomes more waste. It's not necessarily feeding your fish. And this in particular, this product in particular, is not packed with nutrients that plants would particularly need. I'm sure it's got nitrogen, ammonia, those things, some carbon and whatnot. But it's not packed with things that plants need as a fertilizer, and nor is it for what like fry and color enhancing products would have for very young fish and very high performance like koi or something like that, where you can get very specialized diets for different stages of a fish's life. But with all that said and done, I would give this product a solid, 7.8, 8.2, somewhere in there out of 10. Just about as good as you can get for a shelf-stable flake food. I can't complain too much. It's pretty amazing, and I like this stuff for what it is. I'm going to use it a lot, and I am going to use it for grow out tanks and community nano to mid-sized fish tanks, but I'm going to feed it very sparingly and just every few days kind of thing. So those are my pros and cons, and I'd like to hear your opinion. What do you think? What would you say are some more pros, some more cons that you've learned thus far? Or if you've tried it, let me know what you think of it overall, please. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't do all of this without you. So please keep liking, subscribing, and leaving comments. If you don't like and subscribe, leave a comment why you don't like and subscribe. I'd love to have a conversation about it. I'd love to know if you've tried this product or other products like it, and what your thoughts are. If you have any tips or tricks, please educate us all as a community. That's what it's all about here on FISHTORY. All right, you guys, I hope you have an awesome holiday season, as that's right around the corner. And around here, there will be some big changes coming in the near future, and I couldn't do it without your support. So thank you so much for all your continued support of the channel and allowing me to go out and buy products like this to try, so that I don't have a bias. They're not giving me products to try. It's a fair, neutral assessment. And I promise that I'll keep making the content if you guys keep watching. Thank you.